prominent leaders in the industry. So are you people ready? Yes. Okay, and the topic is going to be building digital series. We're about to welcome the chairperson and also the panelists on stage very shortly. Most pleasure. I'd like to welcome the CEO and founder from Protect.ai. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Manish Mimani. Welcome, sir. Please join us. We would like to welcome the chairman of CXO, Sideways, Mr. Navanethan, to join the panel discussion. So yes, followed by with utmost pleasure, I'd like to welcome CTO from Equitas Small Finance Bank, Mr. Vivek, to join us. A huge round of applause, please. And also, we would like to welcome Mr. Vinod from Aditya Birla. Welcome. The hands together, please. Last but not the least, we would like to call upon Mr. Sobin from Cholamandalam. A hearty welcome to you, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a rare chance to hear from experts about building digital app with mobile trust security, protecting identities, APIs, fraud control and compliances, emerging trends, key challenges, and the road ahead for cyber security. I'm sure this is going to be a mind-blowing session. So yes, without any more ado, let's all put our hands together once again for the whole panel. Nallori balata karakosam kudiklama.
Very good evening again, ladies and gentlemen, and it's my real pleasure having all the CEOs and CISOs of banking, insurance sectors, as well as where we want to protect all the the insurance sector as well as the banking sector also. Amazing. I think it will be a very interesting conversation from this end. And if you see this current trends, what mobile devices in India, it's like out of 1.4 billion, close to 1 billion devices, it's well connected to the internet. And from the 1 billion to that we have close to 400 million, it comes from the, in terms of the rural sectors, which most of the digital arrest and most of the digital fraud which is happening from end to end. But if you see this current organizations where the current situations, it's not like earlier, what we had it, right? Earlier, where if you want to go to the bank, where you have to physically visit and all things. But now it's situation is absolutely different. If you want to do any changes or if anything in terms of e-commerce or you want to do any major transactions in a matter of few seconds, where we can get things and where we wanted to add values. So with that aspect, really we wanted to cover building a great digital trust with mobile app security. Because mobile app security, it's not the banking issues, not the insurance issues, not the regulatory issues. This is the very layman issues in the country. So that aspects where we can have a discussions in terms of how we can protect identities as well as APIs, as well as what are the fraud which is happening, and how we wanted to ensure that in terms of the compliance from the wider aspects. See, always security have two challenges. One is we want to do the balancing of security as well as the features, right? If you take a consumer, they want to have a one click, but you want to get things done. But it's when you're looking for a one click, of course, risk also similarly is a one click, right? So we need a lot of in terms of the challenges and then other stuff. Well, we want to take it up. So now just we wanted to maybe we want to start with CTO profile. And in terms of how we can balance, security versus, the functionality, that's, great stuff. Just I want to start from you.
See, security starts with the, secure coding, right? I mean, it starts from there. When you have your own team, it starts from secure coding, then secure testing, then you install, whatever is required, laid by the RBI and those things. And then you have additional tools what you can put into the mobile, right? I mean, if the user is not understanding what the guidelines are, right, then it's very difficult to tell people. So even though whatever security is there, people still give OTPs, right? We can't stop that. If people voluntarily give OTPs, we can't do anything.
Right? Absolutely.
So one is user education. Second is secure coding, MFA, whatever controls we have. I think we have to apply everything because there is no single owner for a mobile device. Right? Every app is accessing the core of the the system, Android or in iOS, I mean, or anything, right? So it is very difficult to understand which app will have what kind of controls, and cross app controls are also difficult. So it is there are certain steps given by the regulator, certain steps already available for the secure mobile apps. We have to follow those things.
Yeah, that is awesome. I mean, in terms of the balancing things, also it's required because that's the way that we have a lot of challenges. At the same time, how the inventions and then how the growth also is happening with it. So from that standpoint, really I want to drive and then would like to ask you, what's the emerging threats you see on the mobile alone? Since it's a lot of AI things also coming to the picture, I want to know like whatever emerging threats as of organization as well as individual users, really what we can foresee or what is happening in the current trends. I would like to hear from you.
I think in the trends or the biggest challenge in security is as soon as you offer, like you said, more functional features, you are actually opening the more surface area for the attacker to attack. So basis that you will have to start making sure that security is embedded by design and not as a post facto thought process. So in the emerging trends, obviously the people will try to hack. They will. It will be. People will try to log in into your mobile app. They will try to use tools by which they can look at your mobile device. They may try to see what is happening. What you are inputting on the mobile devices. So there have to be tools good enough where we say it is as good as it's like a inbuilt MDM in itself. It's an OS by itself, and that can happen where if you go to an app, close it, not close, but move to another app to check your OTP, or you do switching. So that time the screen should blank out. People should not see. People are using tools to figure out what devices, what keyboards you are typing. Those kind of threats will have to be taken care, and some of the security tools that we are using, it does take care. So while we can bring in authentication, there are to be some FRM tools as well. So it is just OTP, but we know if it is the same person by if we know if it is the same device. So using device IDs, etc., if we can do some validations, then it is by default a two-factor authentication. OTP and MPIN, a device ID of the mobile, so that we by inherently we know that somebody has not used another phone and trying to hack or password or find an MPIN of a customer. As soon as the device ID changes, there will have to be call or a additional factor of authentication. So with all this, if we have tools good enough, which fortifies the app, it doesn't. It's not open for everything for all other apps in the mobile to read or see what is happening. That way, I think the those trends or security threats can be taken care.
Amazing. It's like a lot of, from the security standpoint, from the enterprise wise, where we have a set of challenges, as well as from the layman standpoint, where we have a set of challenges. But sometimes now, if you want to break the enterprise, maybe if you break my layman mobile app, it's more than enough to break into the your enterprise. Now I may not require to target, your organization alone separately. So that's why it's the easy way to I can penetrate and the take it. Thank you so much, dear. This other standpoint, from the other way, like maybe what you are using, because absolutely it is the API standpoint, right? What we have it. Really, just I want to hear from you. How this API play very significant role? Like maybe if we have this APK file, so this IOC file, if you provide that's more than enough, or maybe really from the mobile to whatever API it's being called, maybe those areas also which needs to be protected. Like what's a key thought from the the API security standpoint, from the mobile to the API side? Love to hear from you.
Yeah, if you see that, see any mobile app, they need to communicate with different applications or different other services need to be called for. And for that, if you see any application which is running over there, it is used different type of API tokens. Those get validated. So for that, I would say that a real time. So application self protection service that really helps to see that
any applications which is talking to any other services, or the device which that application is holding, any vulnerability is there, that will need to be get protected from that. So I would say real-time protection will help in terms of API calls done by the APK, as well as the vulnerability which is happening on the any vulnerabilities which is there inside in the division in the mobile device also. If you see that mobile device has got n numbers of applications, it may not be patched, and if any device which got rooted device or jailbroken, we will not know. We may not be knowing all those things. So if you have a real-time protection based on that, it will give us say that it will not allow to do any notification to the device. It will alert the user saying that your device is jailbroken, or your device is rooted, or you have a VPN, third-party VPN, which is already active in the devices. So I would say to protect all these points, real-time protection is very much needed for to protect the customers as well as protect the organization security posture.
Awesome, Jobin. So main thing is in terms of real-time production, right? That play very significant role. If you consider this API security connected to the, in terms of the mobile standpoint. With this all the problem statement, Manishji, I think you have a lot of responsibility, and from the end customer standpoint as well as from the enterprise standpoint, because risk comes from both of you, right? The target is different, but ultimately how it is going to compromise, how I came to the exploitation of the data from the mobile app itself. So really, love to hear from you in terms of what are the countermeasures you see in the current state. But of course, I'll come up with a lot of follow-up questions, specifically how I can wrap up, because mobile is not owned by me, right? Only the application is owned by me. So I have a control only till my applications. So really, how to hear in terms of your views on that, Manish.
Thank you. Thanks, Vikram. In fact, I was listening to all the panelists. Vinod was talking about secure coding practice. Vivek mentioned about attack surface management, right? And Jobin was also talking about the complete, jailbroken or real-time protection for the mobile application. Actually, in today's world, mobile application has moved towards a complete, multi-level security controls. Okay? You have to see once your mobile application is working on millions of devices. Okay, normally for a bank and insurance or an NBFC, this is very common, right? You have millions of customers who have downloaded your mobile application. So typically all these devices, it starts acting like an endpoint. The definition of endpoint earlier, which was restricted to your servers or printers or your desktop laptop, this has changed. Okay, the definition of endpoint is also covering the mobile devices where your mobile app is installed, and these are millions. So emerging technologies like runtime protection. Okay, runtime protection provides multi-layer security controls if there is any threat on the device, or if there is any threat on the network which is connected to the devices. People try to do fraudulent practice like state mirroring or remote control or remote access. Okay, these needs to be controlled by the organizations. Today we can't say that, okay, this is consumer problem. No, this is the organization problem, and which is leading to a lot of frauds. And not only this, because India is being primarily an Android market, is still 93% consumers Android market, and Android by virtue of being an open source, there are a lot of malwares which is started originating into the ecosystem, and these malwares are into the form of utility app, gaming applications. They try to take over some screenshots. They try to read the OTPs and start doing frauds. It's very common, especially into the banking ecosystem or NBFCs. Okay. So we need to see that how we can go and control these malware attacks also onto the mobile applications. So a combination of device-related threats like jailbroken and rooted device, what Jobin mentioned. Okay, there can be network issues where a Wi-Fi connected to a device may not be secured, or the VPN connected is not secure. Malicious actors try to tamper with the applications, they reverse engineer it, repackage a banking application, and then try to circulate over WhatsApp or Telegram, becoming very, very common. Every day we read in newspaper, right? One or the other identity hack is happening or account takeover is happening. Primary reason is like fraudsters try to tamper with the mobile applications, take over the identity, use some malwares, and all combination of all these factors to take over the OTPs also. Very sophisticated mechanisms are available where one can register onto the UPI account of somebody else. right? Just by installing some remote desktop and SMS forwarder applications and install and then start doing UPI or banking frauds. And this is like totally impacting the overall ecosystem. I was talking about one of the other news every day into newspaper where money is gone from some banking account, and in today's AI world, it is becoming so easier. Okay, you ask ChatGPT and it will tell you how to do SMS forwarded application, develop of your own, and you won't have any signature available already into the system. So it also leads to that how this runtime protection works, multi-layered security controls we enable, okay, taking care of all these fraud scenarios, and also understand the user behavior. Okay. Vivek was also mentioning about fraud risk management and device and all. These are very good ways of identifying if there is any behavior change in your users and if they are trying to do some transactions which are not into sync of the regular behavior. So I believe that a runtime protection environment where you understand all these threats on live basis, provide a protection to your consumers, and not only cyber but also fraud control and account takeovers and identity management primarily. So combination for all of these things bring a right set of mobile security while you are delivering all this digital experience to your consumers, and on top of it you also need to ensure all those compliances which are actually primarily driven by now RBI and SEBI frameworks.
But as very well summarized, right? I mean, you started from the problem and you concluded with in terms of the complaints, specifically CSCRF and all the things. So really, just I wanted to leave these questions to the Vivek. See now, if you see the RBI and then SEBI, very stringently where we are getting every week there is some circular. You know the pain, right? We are not sure like what movie or what things get released this week. That aspects where we have a lot of challenges. See, as rightly he has mentioned, the real-time protections, as well as he had mentioned in terms of real-time protections on the API, also it's a little bit bigger challenges. It's not like I have a static environment which will protect this entire the infrastructure as well as the ecosystem. From there, I can take it forward. From a complaint standpoint, one of the key controls, key measures where we are taking as organizations. So, love to hear from you. So maybe you can insist from the RBI standpoint, city standpoint, what they insist, and then what are countermeasures we take, to protect such a stuff.
So when we talk about mobile banking, the first use case obviously is NEFT, RTGS, IMPS that customer would want to use. So as soon as you say payment, then the DPSC, there is a master direction from RBI. It is called DPSC, Digital Payment Security Control. And if you are not compliant to it, practically you can't launch the mobile banking, because from RBI standpoint, they don't know whether your mobile app is secure enough. And DPSC does have, in fact, if you count all the small items, it covers around 72 different aspects of security for a mobile app which offers payments. So it applies not only digital app but even applications, but obviously mobile app is the thing because most of the NEFT RTGS which customers initiate are from mobile banking. And it does covers not only things what we all spoke just now, but even it talks about containerization, identity management, so on and so forth. And if everybody tries to build such security aspects, it may take much more longer, and thus what the tools that Manish was talking do help. So we did use the same tool and we were able to comply with DPSC master direction, digital payment security control. Other than that, again RBI came up with the master direction on IT governance and control. There also it again covers a whole lot of security aspects. So if you are doing deployments on cloud, then you know how you should have APIs. So we have implemented, like Ruben was saying, we have all our APIs which are encrypted. All the messages that flow will have to be encrypted. We have a tokenization mechanism, so only if you get a token, a valid token, then the transactions can happen. And all this should happen without customer feeling the complication, or it is flow has to be as seamless as it could be. And if you want to offer API also, then there is additional control that you have to build. So with these tools and all master directions, you'll have to really, like I was saying, you'll have to really fortify as if the mobile app is an MDM in itself or a OS in itself. And so the mobile banking that we have recently launched does take all these aspects, and we have done even audits and complied with it.
That is amazing. I mean, you brought out a lot of the requirement and the directions from the RBI as well as from the SEBI standpoint, which will give a very clear enforcement from the the banking side, which will protect all the transaction which is made by the all the consumer. Now, if you see these two things, right? If I have a realistic rice, money I mentioned, in terms of wrapping it up, in terms of real-time issues, what it is happening, we have the bigger challenges, specifically on the consumer identity. Because now just identity, it's not like this password lock or something, right? You have a face detections, you have a fingerprint. I may not require to have all the time go to the banking transactions. If you have your mobile identity, it's more than enough. I can do the the banking. So maybe I'll leave those questions to you in terms of how we can detect and prevent in terms of the identity theft on the mobile. Because it's a mobile, you know that, right? Now we are handling a lot of real-time fraud. Major problem is they don't have the right app, but this app have access to the all the areas, which is we never notified, right? Just how we can detect and prevent from the banking sector, whatever things you are taking, as well as from the consumer side.
See, if you see customers, right, they install apps from various places, right? I mean, what we advise to customers normally is that install only from the recognized stores, typically only from the Google Play stores and the Apple Play stores. Apart from that, there are third-party stores like Samsung gives, MI gives, so many third-party stores also. But normally, banking apps are only available in recognized stores. From RBI also, it's only in available source. Again, the apps getting installed will have security signatures. They will have signatures which are compatible with these stores. So it means if you are trying to extract the app from the stores and trying to launch it or trying to upload it to some other place, right, you'll be able to identify the app and that will not get installed on the phone. So those kind of security measures are there.
That's true, but the problem is no close to 450 million mobiles connected from the rural.
Absolutely.
So they know the step one, two, three. They don't know.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, right? I mean, the fraudsters, right? They are equally intelligent, and they are having high-end tools to create most sophisticated apps, injection methodologies into any of these apps, right? Even a simple message can inject anything into your phone or into your app, right? Which can make existing apps vulnerable in the phone. So it is very difficult to identify and to protect them, right? So sophisticated protection mechanisms like identifying rooted devices, where some apps or some injections may require root to get installed, right? Without those root permissions, right, you may not be able to install. So identifying these rooted devices, identifying these malwares, identifying the signatures which have restrictions upon this antivirus and all those things, then mechanisms to identify these kind of constant scanning happening from your app. All those things are important, and these are already available, and RBI has given directions on how to go about these things. And there are security mechanisms also already available with third party scanning. And then before launching these apps, all the people are also doing their own scanning, their own security code scanning, all these things. Even threat can come from inside as well. It's not only outside, it can come from inside as well, right? So those things are all perfectly scanned, and it's a still learning process. I think even if you protect something, tomorrow something is going to be open. So you have to continuously detect, continuously figure out a mechanism to stop them.
That's
And
yeah, yeah, please.
yeah.
Glad
So,
to hear.
like you're saying, because a whole lot of customers are from tier 2, tier 3 or rural areas, what we try to do is, we will give them multiple authentication. Everybody wants fingerprint authentication. So we have done fingerprint, facial, this thing, and plus MPIN OTP, of course. Now, when it is fingerprint, invariably it is a local device authentication, right? It is not really with the server. We don't keep everybody's, yeah, exactly. So, in such cases, we have to keep that intelligence saying, oh, this is by fingerprint. So, if the transaction happens, then there will have to be an additional authentication. Plus, try and see if the device ID is same, is it registered now, and have those additional factors. So, while the convenience is there, you cannot overlook the security and make sure the critical part, which is the transaction and OTP, there sometimes you will have to add one additional authentication, and that is working well, at least from the observation that I have seen. But let's see, I'm sure hackers are always yeah, 2 feet ahead of us. So we will also have to keep catching up with them.
And of course, they are the one guiding us. That's the way it is. Always cat and rat race. With this, thank you so much, Vivek. Now with this, really just I want to see that now we have a lot of AI things is coming to the picture. Specifically, we want to talk about now the bigger war between both the countries in terms of DeepSeek or maybe the OpenAI. It's not just one of the company. It's like both the president is talking about, the prime minister is talking about whether you have this, what I have it, right? That's how within a day, 1 billion US dollar stock market crash because of this. So I don't want to mention this any specific company, but in terms of it's never happened because of one company is rising this AI model, but it is crashing in terms of the 1 billion. It is huge. So with this, with the AI model, like we have worked anything specific in terms of real time, or maybe how do you see this the problem statement in terms of the forecasting as well as in terms of the mitigations, Jobin?
Yeah, if you see AI, this start now everybody is known about ChatGPT, then the DeepSeek came. It's all changed the way people are talking about AI. It's easily accessible for the user community as well as the security community as well. So if you see, AI is being used by hackers as the same way means the protection level also we can use that. So one simple example, if you see that if the one of the points is that users are having access to the mobile and they can identity theft can happen on that. So if you bring those good elements of the AI, you see that okay, if I am the person I'm accessing an application at this point of time, my ID, my device, everything is captured. So if somebody is trying to use that ID somewhere and trying to do a transaction, with the help of this thing, it can identify whether it's a real person or somebody else is doing the transaction. So that gives a lot of advantage, and it's an AI. Even another one good thing is that through AI, users are able to get more about what can be what the information, and the same way hackers also using this AI technology. How can I hack into a mobile, or how can means what I can do? I can do a phishing template. So now all these years we were telling about phishing template means phishing attacks comes. There will be a misspelling or misrepresentation of the things. Now it will clearly see that the CXO or CFO has sent a mail. It's clearly the same way, the same tone. Everything is coming on that. So we need to be from our side itself. We need to be more advanced in that. We need to educate to the means users community also that don't think that there will be a spelling mistake will be there. It should be as good as the original mail, but you need to always verify from that standpoint. So see, AI is so advanced. It has got pros and cons. So how advanced we are going to use AI or AI supported security phones to leverage AI to the platform, and we should make use of that to see that our devices or our customers are protected from all these threats.
That was awesome, Mom. And of course, they are ahead of us, right? What are things just where we do that? And as I rightly mentioned, in terms of the geo detection, also play very significant role when compared to the the early stage. Thank you so much, Javin. Like specifically, you have a couple of points we cover. Maybe those things I'll push it to Manish. Manish, just as rightly Javin mentioned, we have the bigger challenges. Earlier, we had only human. Now it's not the case, right? You have additional headache in terms of A play similar to the human. It's not like within a second, earlier we had DDoS attack, within a second, maybe 100 attack. Then we can know that, of course, it's a machine made attack. It's not a human. But now, if you take the real time the protections, at the same time, in terms of the AML, it understands the human behavior. In terms of the 1 minute, if it is a 4 attempts, it makes only 4 attempts. So you cannot make out whether it is a machine or it is the man, right? So that aspects, what are the forcing you see from the AML and how we can apply the real-time detections on the specific area, and would love to hear on the current and then futures how you are going to manage in terms of OpenAI versus DeepSeek?
That's a very interesting OpenAI versus DeepSeek. I will pick up later, but let me tell you, I mean, a lot of research while being developing, all these LLM models and agentic AI. In fact, before the start of the event, me and they're talking about how they are implementing, agentic AI into the system. Large NBFCs, they can give a lot of examples of business cases. But at the same time, we also started debating what are the negative sides of it. uh, I personally believe that the future of war will be done over, cyber and by using AI. Okay? It will not be on the ground that two, army or navy fighting with each other. Okay? That's how the things are going to shape up in the future. Okay? Let me take one very interesting example what Jobin was talking about, the AI-driven frauds first. Okay? One very practical example. One of my friend, his daughter is studying in US, and he got a call with on a WhatsApp his daughter number, his daughter photo, crying and asking for some immediate, transfer of funds, and his daughter voice number was spoofed. Using AI, the image was put up, and using AI, the voice modulation was done. Okay, and immediately, because of panic, he ended up transferring some dollars, right? And then later, after half an hour, he realized that let me call back, and then he realized that it was a fraud call and he has done something wrong. So this is the kind of negative side of AI which is happening while fraudsters started using these new tools, techniques, voice modulation, image, okay, using AI tools, and started doing frauds. How can we control it? Of course, it is more about awareness. Coming back to the topic of protection using AI, right? And as a company, we have 500 million smartphones reporting to our cloud today. So we started running a lot of machine learning programs. Can we identify a malicious device using those the data sets what we have? Okay. Our team was working recently on an AI model which can predict that as soon as we onboard a new device, can we score it out? Can we predict that on this device the chances of doing a fraud is more as compared to a normal device? Okay, and these are all machine learning programs what we are doing into our lab. To be very frank, I mean, in terms of if you say that, ask me what is the level of achievement? Yes, we still generate 10 errors out of a million number, so we have to reduce it to one. Okay, and that's how the programs are emerging. Okay. So AI is also going to be a good protector going forward. All the cyber security tools are getting enabled. Whether you talk about security operating center, a lot of roles has already been taken over by AI tools. Similarly, into the mobile world, okay, while AI is getting embedded onto the smartphones, onto the mobile application side, we are embedding runtime protection using AI capabilities. Okay, to understand the behavior of the user, to understand the behavior and doing a device fingerprinting. We call it identifying the device, whether it's a same device or it's a new device which the consumer is using. Even some fraudsters normally format these devices. Okay, completely an operating system reset. But still, with the help of AI, we are able to understand no, this is a repeat device. Okay, and that's the advantage what we are getting into the system. Location intelligence is one another thing where we are able to map that from the same location, same IP, or a nearby geolocation. If lot many people are onboarding to the mobile application, what is the reason? Can we go in on real-time basis, identify such geolocation related issues, and if we identify such, can we enable real-time second factor, even if it is not applied on a normal course of a transaction, but based on these indicators of device fingerprinting, location intelligence, can we enable second factor? Now, all these I'm talking not about relating to the transactional data, okay, but by only by understanding the behavior of the user in terms of device and network. And these are very new concepts which are emerging into the market. Still a lot to be explored. I will call it out because AI is still emerging in terms of protection primarily. Okay, we have seen a lot of use cases where fraudsters started using AI as giving example. But yes, machine learning and AI are going to be future while we are designing these runtime protection, mobile security, mobile application security, mobile behavior, user behavior. Okay, and once we combine it with the transactional data, the results are coming up into the right way, and we have seen a lot of dramatic, decrease in terms of overall fraud, identifying the fraud on real runtime basis, real time, and stopping it. Multiple use cases I can talk in detail, but yeah, these are the primary ones in terms of enabling further security for the mobile application world.
Yeah, no, so Manish, no, specifically you have given in terms of the great examples of what your friend daughter got a call, and then how it is connected, and then how it has been, the cheated over there. Of course, in terms of deepfake also playing very, significant role, very diligently. Where we should be conscious and in terms of double checking what exactly we have to get things in, because that's like a human psychology. Fake also play very significant role from the end to end. Awesome. We had a wonderful conversation. From the end to end. Really, not only from the organization. Really, we have seen as a consumer, as an enterprise, as a regulator, and as a country, what exactly we want to do that. And then from the AAML standpoint, one of the aspects where we want to cover it. Maybe just I want to have just one takeaway, one highlights from each leader. Maybe from the consumer standpoint, from the enterprise standpoint, from the because the mobile is playing a lot of stuff. So maybe I would like to start from Manish.
I believe a right balance while you are launching a mobile application, right balance between functionality and security has to be embedded together, very simply speaking.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Yeah.
So I would suggest there's a lot of enough tools in the market. I mean, AI, not only AI, there are other things also available. And with AI, I'm now testing, the way of testing, the way how things are defined to test also is changing. So test thoroughly before launching, and then educate the customer in a way that they understand, once a fraud happens, what should be done. That is also important, right? I mean, in a financial app, you may lose money, right? You have to act fast, right? So there are signatures to the app. There's so many things available in the market to be done on that. There are embedded, SDKs which can provide security. So try for those things. And then runtime security, like what Manisha said. So there's so many things available in the market. So try, test, and then implement that. So that is the easiest thing to do. I mean, at least we can save our customers' data from there. Because the attacks are not only coming for the money, it's only again for the data as well, right? Because once data is taken, I mean, the identity theft is gone. Again, people can come back for different things to the same phone for different item, right? I mean, the harvest, the way how data is harvested, right? I mean, attack can come from a different app to attack a different app in the same phone, right? So those things can be figured out only when you have, endpoint security on the device thoroughly done, and then the apps, whatever you install on the phone, are genuine. So we have to ensure all those things. Educate the customer is the easiest way to do that.
Understanding the threat landscapes as well as threat actors play very awesome, amazing. Thanks to you. Yeah, please.
Yeah, so if you say one takeaway, then I would say we should be able to identify the customer, knowing that he is not a deepfake, he is not a fraudster, he is actually my customer who is logging in. If we have all the security tools and identification mechanisms, then I think we have reduced the frauds to a great extent.
Amazing. Great, Javin, love to hear from
Yeah,
you.
I would say that when we are giving something to a customer for getting business, so it's our responsibility to see that what we are giving is rightly protected, and while using, should help them to protect the device or the asset what they are using in terms of various means of that protection mechanism, and make them use that they are safe in all the means using as well as when on the way of their life.
Maybe it comes under a social responsibility also, right? It's not as a bank or not as a corporate. As it's our responsibility to protect our sister and brother and the parents what they are using and what's the value addition. So not only in terms of the directions what they incubate.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, Javin. Thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, it's an awesome discussion. I know that along with this music, I also enjoyed. But we have a lot of focused conversation. On top of that, really we enjoyed. And thank you, leader. Thank you so much for joining. I know that it's a long way, but of course, where we want to give a great experience in terms of the weather and in terms of the great taking of the open place. Because I know that, right? We always on the suit and then inside the AC hall. Really, we want to give a free feel. Thank you so much, and we can give a great applause to the entire leaders, and we're looking forward to have a new conversation. Thanks a lot, leader. Thank you, Rowan. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.